All right, let's dive in. Today, we're tackling AI regulation.
No, yeah.
Which, is a hot topic.
It is.
And we're going to look at what 6 major players are doing.
Oh.
EU, US, China, Japan, Brazil, and the UK.
Makes sense.
We're going to figure out what's actually happening on the ground, policy-wise.
So like the rule books, right?
Yeah, the rule books.
Okay.
Think about it this way. Imagine AI being regulated like nuclear power. Super tightly controlled.
Right.
Or totally open, like sharing a cookie recipe.
Oh, interesting.
What path are we actually on?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? It's complex because different countries are taking different approaches.
Totally, yeah.
But before we get into those specifics, let's define some terms.
Okay, good idea.
When we say generative AI, we mean AI that creates content, text, images, music.
Got it.
Based on the data it's trained on.
Right. Makes sense.
And foundation models.
Right.
Those are the big ones. General purpose AI systems that power a lot of the applications we see.
Okay, so the heavy hitters. Okay, so we've got our AI vocabulary down.
Right.
Let's start our global tour
Sounds fun.
with the European Union.
Okay.
They're the ones with the AI Act, right?
Yeah, and it goes into effect soon.
What's the big deal with this act?
Oh, it's a game changer.
Okay, how so?
It's one of the first big attempts to actually regulate AI, and it takes a risk-based approach.
Risk-based.
Yeah. Stricter rules for AI that could cause more harm. Some AI applications are straight up banned.
Oh, well, like what?
Like social scoring.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of that.
Where everyone's rated on their behavior.
Like that Black Mirror episode.
Yeah,
Creepy.
Exactly.
Oh,
and using real-time facial recognition to track people in public.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty intense.
Those are totally off limits in the EU.
Wow, prohibited entirely.
Yep.
So no social credit scores in Europe.
Nope.
What happens if a company tries it anyway?
Huge fines, up to 30 million or 6% of their global revenue.
Whichever is more, ouch.
Yeah, and they could be banned from using that AI system entirely.
Wow, they're not playing around.
Nope, they're serious.
Okay, so some AI uses are banned.
Right.
But what about the ones that are allowed? How are those regulated?
That's where the risk-based approach comes in.
Okay.
For high-risk AI systems like healthcare, law enforcement, finance, the EU requires a lot.
Like what?
Rigorous risk assessments, high-quality data, transparency about how their AI works.
Makes sense. Those are sensitive areas.
Right.
High stakes, high scrutiny.
Exactly.
But what about those super powerful models like GPT-4, Gemini?
Oh, the general purpose AI models, yeah.
Those seem like they could be used for anything good or bad.
They're powerful and adaptable. That's the point.
So where do they fit in with the AI Act?
That's causing a lot of debate.
How so?
Because they have potential for systemic risk, basically. Risk of widespread harm across society.
Yeah, I see.
The Act says they need extra scrutiny.
Okay, like what?
Mandatory risk assessments, reporting requirements, and even possible restrictions on their use.
So the EU is trying to get ahead of the curve with these new models.
Definitely. They're trying to be proactive.
Okay, so the EU is taking a hard line.
You could say that.
But let's hop over to the US now.
Okay.
What are they doing about AI regulation?
It's a bit different from the EU.
How so?
It's more dynamic, more evolving.
Interesting.
President Biden issued an executive order on AI.
Okay, what does that do?
Focuses on safety testing, incident reporting,
Okay.
and cracking down on things like AI-generated child sexual abuse material.
Right, those are all important.
But it's not as comprehensive as the EU's AI Act.
So more like guidelines than strict rules.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay.
The U.S. government is signaling that AI development needs to be responsible.
Right.
But they're not dictating every detail.
I see.
They're also relying on existing agencies like the FTC.
The Federal Trade Commission, right?
Yep.
What are they doing?
Investigating unfair or deceptive AI practices, especially around bias and discrimination.
Okay, so the EU is strict, the US is more flexible.
For now, yeah.
Let's move on to China.
Okay.
They're huge in AI development, right?
Absolutely.
What's their strategy for regulation?
Control. Definitely control.
Right.
They're prioritizing what they consider harmful information. Strict measures for user registration, content monitoring. AI systems need to align with Chinese laws and values.
That sounds pretty intense.
It is. The government is not afraid to step in.
So if a Chinese AI company develops an algorithm that, say, spits out something politically sensitive,
Oh, yeah?
who's in trouble?
Could be both.
Both.
The company and the person using it.
Wow. So accountability on all sides.
Exactly.
EU with the rulebook, US waiting and seeing, China all about control.
Yep, you got it.
Now, for Japan, they're always at the forefront of technology.
They are.
What about AI regulation?
It's been surprisingly cautious.
Oh, really?
Mostly guidelines, encouraging self-regulation in the industry.
Interesting.
But things are starting to shift.
Ooh, how so?
Well, they're fascinated by AI, but worried about misuse.
Yeah, it makes sense.
They just released new guidance from their Personal Information Protection Commission, specifically for OpenAI.
OpenAI. Why single them out?
They're the ones behind ChatGPT and some of the most advanced AI.
Right.
It's a bit of both.
Both.
They're impressed by the technology, but concerned about how it's used.
Okay.
Especially data privacy. Remember, OpenAI got into trouble for scraping data.
Yeah, I remember that.
Japan's guidelines emphasize data protection and responsible development.
So it's a cautious embrace with a bit of skepticism.
Exactly.
Fascinating.
It is.
Let's head south to Brazil now.
All right.
What's happening with AI regulation there?
Their AI scene is growing fast.
Okay.
And they're working on their own AI Act.
Oh, interesting.
Taking cues from the EU and their own context.
What might their law look like?
Still in the works, but it'll probably be risk-based too.
Like the EU.
Yeah, strong emphasis on transparency. Companies have to explain how their AI works, what data they use.
Makes sense.
And they're really focused on tackling algorithmic bias.
Especially important in a diverse country like Brazil.
Exactly.
Okay, so transparency and fairness are key.
Yeah.
What about penalties? As strict as the EU?
Still being debated, but likely fines and maybe suspending AI systems that don't comply.
So they're taking it seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Last stop, the United Kingdom.
Okay.
What's their stance on AI regulation?
Initially, they were more hands-off,
Real.
letting the industry innovate without much intervention.
Interesting.
But there's been a shift under the new leadership. They're working on a statutory code for AI.
That sounds pretty official.
And they're pushing for mandatory safety testing data.
So companies need to prove their AI is safe.
Before using it in certain contexts, yes.
So from wait and see to show us your homework.
Exactly.
Wow. A much more hands-on approach.
Especially for AI systems with a big potential impact on society.
It's fascinating to see all these different approaches.
It is, isn't it?
From strict rules to nudges and guidelines, everyone's trying to figure this out.
Yeah, it's uncharted territory.
AI regulation is no longer hypothetical. It's happening all over the world.
It definitely is. It's a real patchwork, yeah.
AI doesn't stop at borders, though.
Exactly. It's like
a company could train an AI in one country,
right,
fine-tune it somewhere else, and then it's used everywhere.
It's happening already.
So how do we even start creating a global framework for regulation?
That's the big question.
It seems impossible. Countries can't even agree on trade deals.
It's tough, for sure.
Let alone something as complex as AI.
Yeah.
But there is some good news. People are recognizing that international cooperation is key.
That's encouraging.
We're seeing initiatives and organizations pop up to try and set some ground rules.
So, like, global AI referees.
Yeah, exactly.
One major player is the OECD.
The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, right?
The one.
What are they doing about AI?
They've been working on AI principles and recommendations for a while now, focusing on responsible innovation and ethical development.
The OECD, they're like the economic rules setters for developed countries, right?
You could say that.
Are they trying to do the same for AI?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
They're not creating laws, but their recommendations are influential.
So more like a blueprint for good AI behavior.
Exactly. Setting a standard for ethical development.
Okay, I see.
Helps ensure everyone's at least talking the same language about AI governance.
That makes sense.
The OECD is a big player, but there's also the Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, a collaboration between several countries.
Okay.
Bringing together experts to tackle the tough AI challenges.
So are they trying to create global AI challenges?
So are they trying to create global AI laws?
Their scope is wider than that.
Interesting. What are they focused on?
Things like responsible AI development, data governance,
the
future of work in an AI world, even how AI can address climate change.
Yeah.
Wow, so they're thinking big picture, how AI impacts society long term.
That's right. It's not just about rules, but using this tech for good.
I like that.
GPAI is about diverse voices, making sure AI benefits all of humanity.
That's important.
Definitely.
So OECD sets standards, GPAI looks at the big picture.
Yeah.
Any other international AI initiatives worth mentioning?
There's the Partnership on AI, another influential group.
Who's in it?
Companies, academics, civil society organizations. Working on practical solutions for ethical AI challenges.
So Similar to GPAI, but more focused on concrete solutions.
Yeah, very collaborative, bringing different stakeholders together.
Okay, so we had these groups working on AI governance. That's good.
It is.
Are they actually making a difference?
That's the million-dollar question.
Is all this talk about ethical AI just talk?
It's a fair question. It's still early.
Yeah.
AI is moving so fast.
Yeah.
It's hard to measure the impact of these initiatives right now.
Right.
But they are raising awareness, encouraging dialogue, pushing for transparency and accountability in AI development.
That's a start.
Definitely.
I have to admit, I'm a little skeptical.
I understand.
Are companies really walking the walk on ethical AI?
There's always a risk of ethics washing.
Right. Talking the talk, but not actually changing behavior.
But there are positive signs.
Oh.
More companies are investing in internal ethics teams,
Okay.
creating ethical guidelines, even doing independent audits.
Those are concrete actions. That's good to hear.
It is.
So maybe there's hope for ethical AI
I think so. We're in a big shift in how we think about tech.
and its impact on society.
Exactly.
The next few years will be crucial for AI,
No doubt.
and these collaborations will be vital to ensure AI is used for good.
I agree.
You've given us a lot to think about.
It's a complex topic.
The world is finally realizing we need to govern this powerful tech before it's too late.
It's about time.
But one question keeps coming up for me.
What's that?
What does a responsible AI future actually look like?
That's a question philosophers and technologists are grappling with right now.
No easy answers.
No, but I think it comes down to this. AI empowering humans, not controlling them.
I like that. AI is a tool for progress, not a threat.
That's the goal.
But how do we get there? How do we make sure AI aligns with human values?
It's a multifaceted challenge.
Right.
We need to invest in research, not just technical,
Okay.
but on the ethical and societal implications, too.
Right. The bigger picture.
And we need honest conversations about risks and benefits, diverse perspectives at the table.
So it's not just about writing code. It's about rewriting the social contract, our relationship with tech.
You got it. We need to think deeply about the values we embed in AI systems.
The kind of future we want.
It's a responsibility we all share, developers, users, everyone.
We're all in this together.
Absolutely. The future of AI isn't set. We're shaping it with every choice.
Wow, that's a powerful thought.
It is.
We've gone from AI regulation to the philosophy of intelligent machines.
It's all connected.
It's a lot to process.
Definitely.
Yeah, it really is a lot. And it's a conversation we need to keep having, you know?
It is.
It's not just the tech itself, but the values we build into it.
Right.
The kind of world we're making with it.
Exactly.
We're not just shaping AI.
No.
We're shaping humanity.
And that's a big responsibility.
Huge.
We can't take it lightly.
It's true. It's easy to get caught up in all the hype and fear, the what ifs.
Yeah, I get that.
But we do have the power to choose how we use this stuff.
We do.
We can choose to make AI a force for good,
Right. A tool to help us.
not something that controls us.
And that's where these international groups, these conversations, they're so important.
Right.
They're helping us define what good even means for AI,
Yeah.
making us think about the ethics.
The unintended consequences.
Exactly.
It's like we're writing a new chapter in human history.
Yeah.
Where we have to figure out how to live with intelligent machines.
A new kind of coexistence.
And it's not just about the rules, it's about the values.
Right.
The principles that'll guide us.
Absolutely.
And we need everyone at the table.
Definitely.
The developers, policymakers, ethicists, everyday people.
We all have a role to play.
To make sure AI serves us.
Not the other way around.
It's a huge task, but I am feeling, I don't know, cautiously optimistic.
Oh, yeah.
After this deep dive,
Mm.
it seems like the world is waking up to the challenges and the possibilities.
Yeah, I think so too.
We're still early on.
Very early.
Lots of work to do.
Sure.
But just having these conversations,
Oh, yeah.
grappling with these questions,
That's a good sign.
shows we're moving in the right direction.
I agree.
Well, we've covered a lot today.
A lot.
From specific regulations to the philosophy of AI.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has, and it's just the beginning.
Yeah, just the start.
But before we wrap up, we want to hear from you.
Our listeners.
What stuck with you from this deep dive?
What are your hopes and fears?
Which approach to regulation seems best?
Head to our social media.
Share your thoughts.
We want to keep this conversation going.
Because ultimately, this isn't just about technology.
It's about what it means to be human.
In an age of intelligent machines.
Yeah.
That's a great point to end on.
Glad you liked it.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
See you next time.
Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning,
Keep learning.
and keep shaping the future.